Hi friends, I'm back with a lot more books from the library and I wanted to share them with you. There's more right there. They're just everywhere. So I've done this video previously, and in that video I had only gotten about half of these books, maybe even a quarter, and this is all for the artist unit study from Gather Round Homeschool, which I'll show you right here. It is a unit study based curriculum that you do with your whole family from kindergarten all the way up to high school. And so for this unit study, I'm using it with my 3 daughters who are generally 3rd grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade. And these are all of the books that we got from the library for this unit study in particular. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you everything we got from the library, just as inspiration for you to get yourself. I'll tell you about some of the ones that we've already started reading. Most of them we haven't read yet, but I'll tell you all about it. And I hope this is helpful if you yourself are ever doing a unit study on the arts or artists, or if you yourself are going to use Gather Round Homeschool. I hope this is helpful to you. Gather Round actually does a really lengthy list within their curriculum in their teacher's guide that shows you all of the books that they recommend for this unit study in particular. So most of these books are from that list. I, as a parent, love when curriculum gives library lists or book lists that we can use to really supplement and bring this topic to life, this unit study to life. So I'm super grateful to them for curating this amazingly long list. They even separate it from picture books to upper elementary, to middle school, to high school books. So it's really helpful. Love this curriculum, highly recommend. And it's what we're doing all summer long, setting aside our typical curriculum that we do during the year and just focusing on the artist unit study for the summer. So I hope this is helpful to you. All right, let's start with more of the reference-y type books as opposed to biographical and fiction. So this is called Artists and Their Pet: True Stories of Famous Artists and Their Animal Friends. So I just thought this would be so cute because my girls love animals and pets in general. We've actually never had a pet. I've never had a pet in my whole life. Have you had a pet? So I just thought it would be fun for them to read about artists and their pets. This is by Susie Hodge. This one is called Before They Were Authors, Famous Writers as Kids by Elizabeth Hadel. This one is kind of like a graphic novel feel, but with cool art inside, illustrations, as opposed to like graphic novel comic book. It's like more beautiful art, in my opinion. So J.K. Rowling, Roald Dahl. I was so excited about this, reading about him. So it's just books kind of in graphic novel form of famous writers as kids. And then by that same gal, Elizabeth Hadel, is Before They Were Artists, Famous Illustrators as Kids. Again, same kind of concept. Maurice Sendak of Where the Wild Things Are. Wanda Gag, Millions of Cats. This one was really awesome. My girls flipped through it right away. It's called The Children's Interactive Story of Art. And inside every spread is like a different topic. For example, The Floating City, Venice and Its Painters. On this spread, and on some of the spreads, it gives a little art lesson. Draw a picture of a place you have been on holiday. What will you make important in it? So I just love that, these little art lessons as an invitation for kids to do an art lesson themselves, as opposed to it all coming from me. So I love these little reference books that they can just pick up as they please on their bookshelf. Praise God for the library. Okay, this one's called The Arts, a Visual Encyclopedia. Again, just different spreads of art, separated by sections: sculpture, painting, the This is from DK. Painting is my favorite personally. Dance. So I love this because this really goes with Gather Round. They really split the arts into visual arts, performing arts, even culinary arts. So it's cool that this is really split up in that way as well. Sculptures. I just love that the kids get to see the art big and beautiful like this. Okay, here are a couple poetry books. This one was given to us, A Child's Garden of Verses, Robert Louis Stevenson. This was in the Gather Round Homeschool's book list also, so I loved that we already had it as a gift from a friend. Really beautiful illustrations and poems. Okay, this one is not in the book list, but as I was cleaning up our bookshelf, I also received this as a gift from a friend. If you go down to the woods today, poems by Rachel Piercy, illustrated by Freya Hartis. I thought this book was so cool and was such an awesome gift from a friend. So there's a poem here, and then what to spot a bear's picnic. Bear eating a bowl of wild strawberries, a fawn helping the others stay cool, 14 different hats, a mostly hidden mouse, a speedy picnic basket, a handstand, and 2 cartwheels, 3 friends making daisy chains, an ice cream stand, etc. So I just thought this was so cute. These illustrations are really cool. To find these things and to read the really sweet poem, I really liked this book, and I'm excited to read this kind of when we open up our school day. We've done this one before as well, Sing a Song of Seasons. It's a poem, a nature poem for each day of the year. So I love this because no matter what time of year it is, what day it is, you can always find a poem for that day. But the illustrations are gorgeous. And it's just so fun to have one poem on every single day and to be able to, again, just like have a place to start no matter when you get the book. It was so fun to just look at the girls on their birthdays and read a poem from their birthday. So I'm really excited to just start our unit study every day with reading one poem from this book. So this one is totally a gift. Highly, highly, highly recommend checking this out at your library. It's excellent. Okay, now we're going to go on to more biographical books. This one is Ballerina Dreams by Michaela and Elaine DePrince, From Orphan to Dancer. I can't remember who this is about, but let's see if it tells us. So this book is about Michaela DePrince, who studied on scholarship at the Rock School for Dance Education and the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis School at the American Ballet Theater. Michaela is now a professional ballerina. She was named the youngest principal dancer for the Dance Theater of Haarlem and is dancing with the Dutch National Ballet, one of the top classical ballet companies in the world. I love that they have mixed in these real pictures of her. It looks like it was written. It looks like it was written by Michaela and her adoptive mother. So I'm really excited about this one. It looks so good, especially for the dance lesson. Okay, Who Was Lucille Ball? This is also on the Gather Round Homeschool book list in the Who Was series. Of course, I'm sure you're familiar with this series, but I'm excited to read about Lucille. Okay, I Am Walt Disney. I had never gotten these books before, by Brad Meltzer, but there's a whole series. It's kind of like a comic book. I wouldn't say a graphic novel, although I don't actually know the difference. But my girls really liked this when they read it. And again, there's a whole series of these I Am books. Okay, this isn't from the library. We actually bought this last year when we were doing the artist unit study previously. So my 8-year-old was doing Mozart for her biography for the unit study for Gather Round. So we got this book to like read and for her to use it for her biography. I didn't love this book, but they have a ton in this series. So I wanted to just show you the inside in case you liked it and would want to get something like it. It was like fairly interactive. I did like that there were real paintings or real pictures alongside these kind of graphic comic book style. So it did mix it up, like the mediums were mixed up, which was interesting. It did, I guess, keep our attention, but I just didn't love the writing. It didn't feel like a living book to me, but it was like really informative and like a decent, really kind of changing it up way, eclectic way for her to learn about a certain artist, composer, I should say. Okay, then we have Little People, Big Dreams. This one, I got a few of these. This is Ella Fitzgerald. This series is so good. I always love the illustrations on this as well. Then we have Jane Austen. These are all written by Ma Isabel Sanchez Vergara. Oh, how awesome are these illustrations? I love this. Again, these are mostly on the Gather Round Homeschool book list. So helpful. Then the last Little People, Big Dreams I have, written by Lizbeth Kaiser, is Maya Angelou. One more sort of biographical book is Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat by Javaka Steptoe. I really liked this book when we read it. Just a really beautiful way to capture Jean-Michel's art. A little bit about his story and his family. We liked this one. Henry's Scissors. I also loved this book. When Henry Matisse was a boy, he drew pictures everywhere, and when he grew up, he became a famous artist whose paintings were beloved around the world. Then late in life, a serious illness confined Henry to just his bed and a wheelchair. But amazingly, from there he created some of his finest works, the enormous and breathtaking paper cutouts. Really liked this one. This is I Dreamed I Was a Ballerina, a girlhood story by Anna Pavlova. Every girl remembers her first trip to the ballet. The anticipation beforehand, the orchestra's first notes, the ethereal beauty of the ballerinas. This is a tale of one such girl who was caught up in ballet's mesmerizing spell and became one of the greatest ballerinas of all time. This one is called Building Zaha, the story of architect Zaha Hadid by Victoria Tentler Krylov. Zaha had an inquisitive mind and spent hours analyzing lines and shapes in everything from mosques and construction sites to wetlands and rugs. She thrived in her math classes and moved to London to develop her skills at architecture college, where she confused and excited her professors. Instead of drafting precise straight lines, she reached for paints and brushes and conjured structures that tilted, swayed, and floated on air. I'm really excited about this one, especially when we do the lesson on architecture. Okay, then I got 4 by Lawrence Anholt. I love these books so much. This illustrator is my new fave. And he has a whole series of books. Leonardo and the Flying Boy, a story about Leonardo da Vinci. The illustrations are beautiful. The story is excellent. It's like mixes fiction with nonfiction, and it's really captures your imagination. Loved this one too, Camille and the Sunflowers. A story about Vincent van Gogh. Excellent. Picasso and the Girl with the Ponytail. We haven't read this one yet, but it looks really good. I realized I'm missing another one of these also that I got on Claude Monet. I don't know how to say his name. Degas and the Little Dancer. Highly recommend these books. Okay, now I have just 3 left of the ones I have here. So we have, these are totally fiction. Fancy Nancy, The Show Must Go On. Just about theater. This again was on the list from Gather Round Homeschool. And then 2 more. Angelina Ballerina. Loved reading this with the girls. Again, just about dance and dreams and the discipline of being a dancer. I really enjoyed this. And then the last one is Angelina's Cinderella. This one was about a theater troupe that travels and does theater all around the country, does a tour. And that's it. So on the screen, I'll actually put up a little screen recording of what the artist series looks like from Gather Round, so you can see what it's like. Gather Round Homeschool is this really cool concept of unit studies where they have every subject you would need to go over with your kiddos all in one unit study. So it's not just a history unit study, it's not just a geography unit study, it's not just an art unit study, it's all of those in one unit study. So this whole overall concept of artists is talking about different artists, painters, musicians, composers, dancers, poets, bakers, etc. But in every single lesson, you have a page on science and a page on geography and a page on history. So every kiddo in each of their student workbooks has a different page that is perfect for their age to go through these different subjects, all under the umbrella of the artist unit study. There's one teacher's manual, and the teacher, parent, reads a few pages, around 3 to 4 pages, to break open that lesson, and then all of the kids kind of separate to do their student workbooks. Some pages are the same. They'll mark a little same page alert to say, hey, this is the same page for your 3rd grader as it is for your 6th grader. So they can do this page together, or you can do this page as a family. And then there are pages that are different. My 7th grader is going to be doing more research and different things in the history section than my 3rd grader will, but it's all under the same umbrella of the artist unit study, and it's all right after I'm done reading from the teacher's manual. So I don't have to do separated out subjects with them. It's all us gathered around the table, the couch, and learning these concepts together. So I hope this is helpful. I hope these books on artists is helpful to you if you ever do an artist unit study. I just think the arts are so fun, and I'm really excited to do this with the kids, take a little break from our regular curriculum and do this artist unit study from Gather Round. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'd love to hear your recommendations down below. Do you use any unit studies? How does that go for you and your family? Can't wait to hear.